All right, imagine this. You're sitting there waiting for your monthly Social Security check to hit your account, right? You know, the one that keeps the lights on, pays the rent, and helps with those grocery runs. But what if I told you that in 2026, the check you're expecting might look a little different? No, seriously, it could be less than you thought. Now, don't freak out just yet. There's a huge change coming that most people aren't talking about. You're probably thinking, wait, what? A COLA increase should be good, right? Well, it's a bit more complicated than that. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how rising healthcare costs, tax hikes, and some surprising adjustments could take a big chunk out of your benefits. So stick with me, because what you're about to find out might just change how you prepare for retirement. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. What's actually happening with Social Security in 2026 and why it's kind of a mixed bag. Now, most people know that Social Security is the backbone of many retirees' financial plans. It's that regular check that helps you pay the bills, cover basic living expenses, and feel secure in retirement. But in 2026, it's not as simple as just getting a bigger check. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that could change how much of that check you actually get to keep. Social Security benefits in 2026, the increase you're not expecting. The first thing you'll notice in 2026 is that your benefits will rise. The cost of living adjustment, COLA, for 2026 is set at 2.8%. That's higher than some years, but it's still a far cry from the inflation rate we're seeing right now. For example, if you're currently receiving $1,500 a month from Social Security, that COLA bump will add about $42 to your check, bringing it up to $1,542. Now, that might sound like a nice bump at first glance, but let's be real. This increase might not cover the rising costs of everyday life. What COLA doesn't cover. The main issue here is that the costs of goods and services, especially things like healthcare, rent, and utilities, are increasing faster than the COLA. We've all felt it, right? A gallon of milk that cost $3 last year might cost $3.50 this year, or maybe even more. Inflation is eating up more of your income every year, and that 2.8% COLA raise, it's just not enough to keep up. Retirees already feel this pinch, and surveys from organizations like AARP show that most retirees don't think the COLA is enough to keep pace with their real-life costs, particularly when healthcare premiums and prescriptions are going up. The Medicare factor. For example, let's talk about Medicare premiums, something most of you will be familiar with. In 2026, the standard Part B premium will rise to $202.90 a month, which is a nearly 10% increase from last year. So that $42 increase in Social Security might get eaten up just by your Medicare Part B premium. And this is only Part B. There's also Part A, which covers hospital stays, and other optional plans like Part C or Part D, which cover prescription drugs. Each of these comes with its own premium, deductible, and copays. A deeper look at the numbers. Now, let's put some numbers to this. If your monthly Social Security check was $1,500 before the COLA increase and your Medicare Part B premium increases by $17.90, that's $50 right off the top of your check. That means you're only seeing an extra $42 in your pocket each month. But here's the thing, your rent, your groceries, and your utility bills aren't getting any cheaper. So the extra $42, it might not stretch as far as you think. What does this mean for you? The 2.8% COLA is a good thing, but it's not a solution to the larger problem of rising living expenses. For many retirees, rising healthcare costs and inflation are making it harder to live comfortably on Social Security alone. Even with that COLA bump, it's becoming harder to keep up with the cost of everything from food to health insurance. And that's where we get into the mixed bag. On one hand, we're seeing that increase, but on the other hand, Medicare premiums are rising, taxes are a factor, and inflation is swallowing up a big chunk of that extra income. It's almost like you're getting an increase, but at the same time, it's being pulled away through other costs that keep climbing. How does Social Security work in 2026? In 2026, the core mechanics of Social Security are staying the same. But there are a few things you need to know about how the program functions, especially with the recent cost of living adjustments and other changes to premiums, taxes, and more. Qualification for Social Security benefits. To qualify for Social Security, you need to have worked and paid into the system through payroll taxes over the years. Most people become eligible for benefits after earning 40 work credits, which typically means you've worked for 10 years and paid taxes during that time. Here's the deal with work credits. For 2026, you earn 1 credit for every $1,890 in wages. This amount adjusts each year. So, if you work a full year and make more than $7,560, you will earn the maximum of 4 credits for that year. What age do you start getting Social Security benefits? You can start receiving your retirement benefits as early as age 62, but there's a catch. The earlier you claim, the lower your benefits will be. If you start at age 62, you'll get a reduced benefit compared to waiting until you hit full retirement age, FRA. FRA is somewhere between 66 and 67, depending on the year you were born. If you choose to wait until age 70 to claim, you'll get delayed retirement credits, which increase your monthly check. In fact, waiting until age 70 can boost your check by up to 8% per year. It's one of the best ways to maximize your Social Security payout if you can afford to delay your benefits. Example: if you're eligible for $1,500 per month at full retirement age, waiting until age 70 could bring your monthly benefit to around $1,860, an extra $360 a month. Social Security is not just for retirement, other benefits. Here's something many people don't realize. Social Security isn't just for retirement. It also provides benefits for surviving spouses, widows or widowers, and disabled workers of all ages. Let's take a quick look at these groups. 1. Spouses and survivors. If you're married, your spouse can receive Social Security benefits based on your work record. If your spouse passes away, you might be eligible for survivor benefits. For instance, a widow or widower can start receiving survivor benefits as early as age 60 or even younger if they're caring for a dependent child. 2. Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI. If you become disabled before reaching retirement age and can't work anymore, you might qualify for Social Security Disability Insurance. The good news is that SSDI benefits are based on your past work history. So if you've paid into Social Security through your work life, you're likely to be eligible for these benefits if needed. 3. Supplemental Social Security, SSI. For those who have little to no income or low savings, there's also Supplemental Social Security, SSI. This program is designed to help people who are disabled, elderly, or blind and have very limited income or resources. SSI is different from Social Security, and while it's not based on your work history, it does provide much-needed financial assistance. 1. How Social Security benefits are calculated. The amount of Social Security benefits you'll receive depends on how much you've earned throughout your working life, and the longer you work and pay into the system, the higher your benefits could be. The SSA uses a complex formula based on your 35 highest earning years to calculate your primary insurance amount, PIA, which is the amount you'll receive at your full retirement age. But here's the thing. Social Security benefits are capped, meaning even if you earn a ton of money in a given year, there's a maximum that can be counted toward your benefit calculation. For 2026, that cap is set at $147,000, which means if you make more than that in a year, anything above $147,000 is not considered for your benefit calculation. Social Security's long-term health. What's at risk in 2026? So, we've gone over the basics, but there's a bigger concern hanging over Social Security, especially as we look toward 2026 and beyond. While the system is stable for now, the Social Security trustees have projected that by 2034, the program's trust fund could run out of money. After that, the system will only be able to pay about 81% of benefits using incoming payroll taxes. That's a serious concern, and it could lead to benefit reductions unless Congress takes action to shore up funding. So while Social Security won't disappear, benefits could shrink in the future if there's no fix to the system. What is COLA and how is it calculated? First off, let's quickly understand what COLA is and how it works. COLA is an annual adjustment made to Social Security benefits to account for inflation. Basically, it's the government's way of ensuring that your benefits don't lose value over time. The adjustment is calculated based on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, or CPIW, which tracks the cost of a basket of goods like food, housing, and transportation. Each year, the Social Security Administration, or SSA, looks at the CPIW data from the third quarter of the year and compares it to the same period from the previous year. If inflation has gone up, COLA is applied so retirees don't fall behind. 2026 COLA, a 2.8% increase. For 2026, the COLA increase is set at 2.8%. On average, this means that Social Security beneficiaries will see their checks go up by 2.8%. So if you're receiving $1,500 a month, that would go up by $42 to about $1,542. Now, at first glance, this might seem like a win. An extra $42 a month could cover some costs, right? Well, let's hold off on the celebration for a moment because while 2.8% sounds good, the real issue here is how inflation has been affecting everyday costs, especially things like healthcare, food, and rent. 2.8% is the average COLA adjustment in a year, but it often doesn't match the actual increase in the cost of living that retirees are facing. Why the COLA increase might not be enough. Here's the reality. Inflation doesn't hit everything equally. Some costs, especially healthcare, have been rising faster than general inflation. Healthcare costs in particular are a huge concern for retirees, and unfortunately, COLA adjustments don't necessarily keep pace with the rapid increases in things like prescription drug costs, doctor's visits, and Medicare premiums. Take Medicare Part B premiums as an example. In 2026, the standard Part B premium will rise by $17.90 a month, which is about a 10% increase. So if you're getting an extra $42 from COLA, you'll likely spend about $17.90 just to cover that increase in Medicare. That's almost half of the COLA bump already gone, leaving you with less to cover other rising costs like food, utilities, and transportation. COLA's impact on different retiree groups. Not all retirees will feel the same effect from the COLA increase. Here's why. Low-income retirees might struggle the most. If you're living on a modest Social Security check, that $42 extra might barely cover the increased cost of heating in the winter or a slight bump in rent. COLA adjustments may seem larger in percentage terms for lower-income households, but in practical terms, it doesn't stretch far enough to make a difference. Higher-income retirees might not feel the COLA as much because they have more sources of income. However, they could still face the same rising Medicare premiums and inflation in healthcare costs. The bigger picture: how inflation affects retirement. This COLA increase of 2.8% might be the best we get for now, but it's still a short-term solution. When we talk about long-term retirement planning, inflation and rising healthcare costs are the real threats to retirees' financial well-being. In fact, Social Security only replaces about 40% of your pre-retirement income. For many retirees, relying solely on Social Security means they're already struggling to meet their daily expenses, and a COLA of 2.8% just isn't enough. The connection between Social Security and healthcare costs. Most retirees aren't just receiving Social Security, they're also enrolled in Medicare. If you're on Medicare, you know it's the federal program that helps cover your healthcare needs. But here's the thing: Medicare premiums and out-of-pocket costs have been going up at a rapid pace, and many retirees are feeling the sting. In 2026, one of the biggest hits will come from the increase in Medicare Part B premiums. For the standard Part B premium, which covers doctor's visits and outpatient care, it's going to rise by $17.90 per month, which is about a 10% increase. So if you're getting an extra $42 from COLA, you'll likely spend about $17.90 just to cover that increase in Medicare. That's almost half of the COLA bump already gone, leaving you with less to cover other rising costs like food, utilities, and transportation. Let's break down the impact of all these changes on your monthly budget. Imagine you're living on $1,500 a month from Social Security. After the COLA increase, your check goes up to $1,542. But here's where it gets tricky: healthcare costs. Medicare Part B premium, $202.90. Medicare Part A deductible, $133, monthly average. Part D prescription drug plan, $35 to $50. That adds up to $385.90 in healthcare costs alone. So let's subtract that from your $1,542 Social Security check, remaining $1,156.10 for everything else: groceries, rent, utilities, and transportation. The COLA bump of $42 doesn't go as far as you might hope because healthcare is eating most of it. What can you do about this? 1. Shop around for Medicare plans. During Medicare open enrollment, compare Medicare Advantage and Part D plans for better rates. Even switching plans could save you money. 2. Consider supplemental insurance. Medigap or other supplemental insurance plans can help cover out-of-pocket costs that Medicare doesn't. 3. Be smart about medications. Talk to your doctor about generic options for medications. You might find that switching to a generic can save you a lot each month. Now, let's talk taxes. Social Security benefits are taxable depending on your combined income. If it's above $25,000, individual, or $32,000, couples, up to 85% of your benefits could be taxed. That means you're paying taxes on $15,300 of your Social Security, leaving you with less than expected. But there's some good news. Seniors 65 plus get an extra $6,000 tax deduction starting in 2026. This could help shield more income from taxes and keep more of your benefits in your pocket. The future of Social Security is uncertain. The trust fund could run out by 2034, meaning benefits might be cut by up to 19%. Here's what you can do now to prepare. 1. Diversify income. Don't rely solely on Social Security. Start saving or investing. 2. Cut costs. Review your budget, reduce healthcare costs, and look for savings. 3. Advocate for Social Security. Stay engaged, voice your concerns to lawmakers, and push for reform to protect future benefits. Social Security will help, but it's not enough on its own. Stay informed, plan ahead, and take control of your retirement before the changes take control of you.